When we think of an earthquake, our minds immediately go to the ground shaking, right? But that violent shaking, it's often just the beginning. An earthquake is really the first link in a terrifying chain of destruction. And today, we're going to follow that chain all the way to the end. So let me just ask you this. What do you think is actually the deadliest part of an earthquake? Is it the shaking? The buildings coming down? Well, the answer might not be what you think. Because so often, the real destructive force isn't that initial shockwave. It's the cascade of other hazards it unleashes. The shaking is really just the trigger. All right, so let's break down this chain reaction. We're going to start with a disaster that proved in the most devastating way that the after effects can be way worse than the quake itself. A perfect example is the great 1906 San Francisco earthquake. A massive magnitude 7.9 quake hits the city. But here's the crazy part. The shaking wasn't the main event. It ruptured all the gas mains, which of course ignited enormous fires all over the city. And since the water lines were also broken, the firefighters were basically helpless. The city just burned. For 3 whole days. It was the fire, that second link in the chain, that caused almost all of the destruction. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not downplaying the ground shaking. Globally, it is the #1 hazard. It's responsible for the most casualties, mainly because it's what brings buildings down. But the intensity of that shaking is not the same everywhere. It's hugely affected by the very ground you're standing on. And this is where things get really wild. If you're on soft soil or landfill, think of places like Mexico City or San Francisco's Marina District, that ground can act like a bowl of jelly. It can amplify the seismic waves by 5, even 10 times. Buildings that would have been totally fine on solid rock just get shaken to pieces. But what happens when it's not just shaking? The next link in our chain is when the fault doesn't just rumble deep underground, it actually rips the surface of the earth wide open. Yeah, this is something called surface rupture. The ground itself is permanently torn and shifted. I mean, just try to imagine a road, a railway, a pipeline suddenly being sheared apart and moved 12 meters. That's almost 40 feet. That's exactly what we saw in New Zealand back in 2016. There was literally no building or structure that can survive the ground itself being ripped in two. Okay, so the ground can shake and it can tear apart. But what if it did something even weirder? What if the very ground beneath your feet just stopped being solid? This brings us to soil liquefaction. It's one of the most surreal and destructive things that can happen in an earthquake. See, if you have loose, sandy soil that's full of water, the intense shaking can force that water between the sand grains until they're basically floating. The solid ground just completely loses all of its strength and behaves like a liquid. And if you want to picture what that looks like, check out what happened in Niigata, Japan in 1964. The shaking caused liquefaction all over, and entire apartment buildings, and get this, they weren't even structurally damaged, they just tipped over, sinking right into the ground like it was quicksand. I mean, that's the bottom line here. During liquefaction, the ground beneath you literally becomes a liquid. It's an unbelievable failure of the earth itself. And the ground failing doesn't just happen on flat land. In hilly areas, earthquakes are brutally effective at triggering landslides. During the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake in China, about 70,000 people died. But about 20,000 of them, that's nearly a third, weren't killed by the shaking or collapsed buildings. They were killed by the tens of thousands of landslides the quake set off. And now, we get to the most feared link in the chain. The hazard that can cross entire oceans and bring destruction to coastlines thousands of miles away. We're talking about the tsunami. A tsunami has this terrifying two-faced nature. Out in the deep ocean, it's practically a ghost. It's traveling at the speed of a jet plane, 800 kilometers an hour. But the wave itself might only be a couple of feet high. You could be in a boat and not even know it passed under you. But as it gets closer to the coast, the water gets shallower, it starts to slow down, and all that energy has nowhere to go but up. It transforms into a monstrous wall of water. And the power is just, it's almost impossible to comprehend. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which was triggered by a massive undersea quake, killed more than 230,000 people. It hit 14 different countries, making it the single deadliest tsunami in recorded history. Just look at the data here, and you really start to see the scale of it. The earthquakes that create these waves are the most powerful on the planet, all magnitude 9.0 or higher, and the wave heights are just staggering. 30 meters, 40 meters, even 70 meters in a localized bay in Alaska. This isn't just a wave, it's a moving flood of unimaginable force. So when you're faced with that kind of devastating power, really the only defense you have is an early warning. So how do we get one? How do we know when that harbor wave is actually coming? Well, today we have some incredible technology. There are these DART buoys sitting out in the deep ocean that can actually feel a tsunami wave pass overhead and beam a warning up to a satellite. We have seismic networks that can figure out an earthquake's tsunami potential in just minutes. And, of course, those alerts can be pushed right to our phones.
But what about a local tsunami, one that's generated right offshore and could arrive in less than half an hour? There might not be time for an official warning. So what are the natural warnings? What are the signs that nature itself gives you that scream, run for your life?
Honestly, this right here is the single most important thing to take away from all of this. If you are ever near a coast and you feel strong shaking that goes on for more than 20 seconds, that is your warning. If you see the ocean suddenly pull back, exposing the seafloor, that is your warning. If you hear a loud, strange roar coming from the water, like a freight train, that is your warning. Don't wait, don't go investigate, move to high ground immediately. Because understanding this chain of destruction is the first step to making sure you're not a part of it.